Hello, welcome to Finextra TV. My name is Richard Pears, working with Finextra these days. And I've got with me Nick Ogden, who probably needs no introduction, but founder of Worldpay and ClearBank. Nick, good to have you here with us today.
No, thank you for inviting me along. Great show.
I hear you were telling me a little snippet that you've got some exciting news to share, which will build on that introduction. So I'm intrigued. What's happening?
Yeah, the covers have came off. I sort of made some hints about something we've been doing a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And yesterday we took the covers off RTGS.com.
RTGS.com.
Yeah.
Wow. Is the clue in the name?
There's a clue in the name. Every country in the world is looking to build RTGS platforms to speed domestic payments, but there isn't a global RTGS. And one of the challenges facing international payments and payment transactions is the absence of the view on liquidity. When you make an international payment, your bank's making a payment between a bank, actually they'd quite like to know that the other bank's solvent and they're going to get paid back.
It would be handy, yeah.
Yeah, and believe it or not, even post, the Herstat crisis of '74, the global financial crisis of 2008, we still don't see liquidity. It's invisible all over the world. Central banks see it on a national basis to a degree with end-of-day reporting, but it's not seen globally. And part of the experience, I think, of building ClearBank was going through the huge regulatory process to learn how to build a bank, learn how to comply with the Basel Committee rules, understand what the BIS does and all the rest of it. And then really the eureka moment was thinking, actually, we can see liquidity, we can change the way transactions work.
And what impact will that have to sort of global economy and so forth?
Potentially a couple of trillion a year in additional cash flow for businesses. That's quite significant. We can move a payment from Australia to the UK on a Sunday afternoon in 8 seconds.
And give people a sense of what that is today.
Well, the banks are closed.
Yeah.
The banks are closed.
Yeah,
in the UK, we're restricted. We can do faster payments at the weekend, high-value payments we can't do.
Yeah.
The whole market is changing. We're at Cybos now, 2019. Over the years, developments have moved through. The position we've taken in relation to looking at liquidity is very, very simple. Bank A, a sterling-based bank, has a customer who wants to make a payment in US dollars. It doesn't have any US dollars, so it's got to go and buy them from Bank B in America. Bank B would really like to know that it's going to get paid in sterling for the dollars it's selling. So what we've done is built a system whereby we apply things called liquidity locks. So when the transaction's created on the UK bank, we lock known liquidity in the UK bank. When the request is made to the US bank for dollars, we lock known dollar liquidity there. And when the customer says, I want to make the transaction, we release both payments and we balance the accounts within the UK sterling bank.
So it's absolutely known.
It's just straightforward.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about it is we can then give central banks visibility in relation to that transaction flow. So the RTGS network, the global network that we're building, allows both national banks and central banks to see intrabank movement. One of the interesting things that plays into is how central banks, if you like, resolve a bank if it goes into crisis, if it's going effectively bankrupt, a Thomas Cook moment, so to speak.
Right, yeah.
And today, central banks don't necessarily know the counterparty liabilities that a bank owes to other banks around the world. We believe, certainly from the conversations we've had with a number of global central banks, that this platform that we're building will move towards allowing that resolution capability, which is really exciting because it's de-risking the global financial system.
It's pretty momentous, actually. You say exciting, that's a sort of much overused word. It's pretty momentous, isn't it?
It's a change, yeah. But the technology to do this stuff and the capability to do that are really only arriving. From your previous life, we've been working with Microsoft for many years in relation to Azure. We have a great relationship with them. The whole of our platform is built around Azure environments. We need to keep access to liquidity accounts within multiple banks around the world open real time to manage liquidity flows.
Yeah.
We can now do that real time.
And where are you? So this is huge news. It feels like 5 minutes ago we were sitting over a coffee talking about forming ClearBank, the first new clearing bank in 250 years.
Yeah.
And this has arrived, out of the blue almost. Where are you in the journey of this?
Well, it's not quite out. Back when we were setting up Worldpay, back in the very, very early days, we were making about 40,000 SWIFT payments a day in relation to clearing our customer balances. And I saw the issue there and tried to sort of work out how to do this. And the technology, the capability, the market just didn't exist. And so sometimes you just have to wait and wait and wait. Where we are now is we've had discussions with central bankers around the world. Our approach has been to go to talk to central banks about what we're trying to do and to find out from them what their response is to this idea. It's been 100% positive, and they've authorized us or agreed that we can then go and talk to national banks, which we're in the process of doing. In the first half of 2020, we're running a pilot with both central banks and national banks to see how this works. Because there's some very, very interesting dynamics that occur when you actually create a system that's based around liquidity and real time. An example of that is that you can get money you're due tomorrow today.
Hang on
I can see you going, hello, hello.
That sounds like my
Bring
kind
the
of dream.
man a cappuccino.
Yes, get him another espresso.
No,
what do you mean?
Well, today the money flow tends to follow the sun, so it goes around the planet.
Yeah.
There is no reason why, in a real-time connected world, you cannot make a payment from Australia to a bank in San Jose, all right, in effectively the same day.
Yeah.
All right, but you'd go over the date line.
There seems like a world of,
It's
confusion.
a world of opportunity.
Yeah.
And we're in discussion with the Federal Reserve Bank. We're going to work out how this is going to work and how it's going to play in. But why not? Because the example of that, you sort of say, how does that work?
Yeah.
But it works today. Because if I'm in Sydney and I owe somebody in America $1,000, I can get on a plane today, a Qantas flight from Sydney Airport. I can fly to San Francisco with $1,000 in my pocket. It's under the 10,000 limit, and I can hand them the cash the same day.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And
so,
so,
so it's just a constraint of human systems that are.
It is. And
yeah.
The world is changing. We're becoming more global. We are understanding how things move, and I think that if we can reduce interbank risk, which is what RTGS.Global is trying to do, and then give banks the opportunity to deliver service levels to their customers. We're the only industry in the world that doesn't have a service level agreement with our customers. Yeah. Somebody comes and says, can I make a payment? We'll say, yes, of course you can.
Yeah.
When? Soon. We don't say, your payment's going to go into our system, it's going to be received in a minute or 5 minutes or a day, it's gone.
Yeah.
Right? That's nuts. And if you look at what the fintechs are doing, all right, and what potential Libra is proposing to do, it's about delivering service levels to customers which the banks haven't responded to. So in order to respond to these challenges appropriately, all right, as the custodians of the world's liquidity, which is what they are, they have to change their systems and platforms and the way they operate.
And in terms of, so you formed the company, you've got the concept, you've done the consultation, you continue to do the experiment, the technology platform and so forth, what will that be? When will we see this come to life, do you think?
Well, the website's up as of yesterday, and so banks can apply if they're interested, central banks or whatever. That's already happening since yesterday, so it's not quite exclusive. It's leaked out. The first pilot is a closed pilot, the first half of next year. At the end of that, we're obviously going to have a mop-up. Some stuff's going to work, some stuff's not. We're going to work all of that out, work with the regulators to understand some of the dynamics of how this is working, then run to a live pilot potentially in the second half of 2020. Right, depending upon how that works, all right, which is going to go from a live pilot between banks to potentially a live pilot involving customers, and some of the banks that are involved in this project are here at Sibos today, all right. We will then move to a slow migration into market, we think, back end of 2020, early 2021.
Amazing. And you tend
or
to...
it may fail.
Or, well, as you tend to say, this is what my plan is. Your plans tend to come true. So, fingers crossed that's going to be the case.
It's the team that I have. And, I come up with the cranky ideas and they sort of knock me around the head and say, yes, but.
I was going to say, what next? Time travel, but you've already answered the time travel question. So I don't know what's left for you after this, but let's just focus on this one for now. Yeah. What about ClearBank? Are you continue with ClearBank, I assume?
I was very, very lucky. We went through huge regulatory support, and some of the stuff behind RTGS, as I said earlier, I wouldn't have been able to do without the support of the UK regulators and arguably the lessons and training that they gave me for free in a strange sort of way. I was very privileged to be awarded 2 years executive chairman role by the Court of the Bank of England. That finished December of last year. I'm now remain on the main board, remain highly committed, third largest shareholder in ClearBank. And what we're doing within RTGS.Global is a massive opportunity for ClearBank in the UK.
Amazing. Well, Nick, thanks for sharing that fantastic news.
My pleasure.
It's incredible, and you're going to keep us updated, I hope.
I'll try very hard to, Richard.
Wonderful. Thanks, Nick.
Okay, my pleasure.